So tell me what you learned on your little field trip. You mean other than that programmatic marketers can really party, or that Palm Springs in May is kind of perfect and doesn't at all feel like the surface of the sun? Yes, other than that. Well, as you and the commissioner suspected, advertisers still aren't ready for the third-party cookie to go away. And all because Google has postponed its plans to deprecate the third-party cookie in Chrome again, right? Pretty much, but they may almost be less ready if you can believe it. I'm gonna need you to explain that one. Okay, so you know how Digiday held its Programmatic Marketing Summit last December and asked a bunch of attendees to rate on a scale of 1 to 10 the ad industry's readiness for the third-party cookie to go away? Yes, I've seen the video. The commissioner's seen the video. Everyone's seen the video. That's why we decided to send you to the May 2024 edition of the Digiday Programmatic Marketing Summit to get an update on whether advertisers are legitimately preparing to let go of the third-party cookie or whether regulatory intervention may be necessary. Exactly. So I figured I'd go, ask the same question, and see how the scores compare.
I think maybe a 3 out of 10.
I would say we're probably around a 4 or a 5.
The industry is at a 5.5.
I would currently go with a 3.
I would rate it somewhere between 3 and 5, depending on the vertical.
I would say probably like a 4 or 5.
I think I would put it at a 3 for the industry as a whole.
Wait till the commissioner sees this. Totally. I also get the sense that advertisers are kind of over it. Like, each delay just desensitizes them more and more.
I do feel like people have, waited to fix things and keep getting like sort of this bump from Google as it moves, as it delays that inevitable deprecation.
Google's delay also fuels our continued attention on last click metrics or metrics that continue to allow us to see performance in a scope that's just not going to be available once the cookie does deprecate.
Google kicked the can down the road again, and that only allowed, I think, everybody to go like, well, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing.
Is there no urgency for advertisers to wean themselves off the third-party cookie sooner than later? I mean, honestly, in the case of browsers like Apple Safari and Mozilla's Firefox, it's already gone. Well, the people I spoke to seem to understand that. It's just that there seems like a lot of advertisers that don't think they have to worry about all that just yet.
There's 25 years of development of technologies that are all built around this third-party cookie. Reporting ecosystems and processes. All of that needs to transform, and it's really hard to do, especially when the legacy piece still works the way it always have.
I think like most technology, necessity is the mother of invention, and technology gets adapted and adopted as it's needed. And pretty much that's it, For those who have needed it the most desperately, they've moved more quickly. For those for whom everything is still working and they don't need it, it becomes, lower on the list of everything else that has to be dealt with.
I think people are like, everything's kind of still performing. We might be losing a couple of ticks in performance, but it's still working. And then again, it might happen again. Google might just not do it again. So I think people are resting a little bit.
Unbelievable. Okay, so then do they expect advertisers' readiness levels to improve? I mean, yes, a little.
I'd say by the end of the year, we're lucky to be at a 4 or 5. I think we should be at a 4. I'll go on record with 4.
So I said 3 to 5, so I'll say 5.5.
I think if I'm at a 4 or 5, I hope to be at a 5-6 by then. Mostly just because we still continue to see momentum with a lot of the IDs in the space. There's more and more partners matching. So I think, and then likewise, publishers matching to integrating. So I think that the integration game is still moving, and hopefully that will just allow for scalability to be that much more possible. So I think that, honestly, I don't expect much change, but I think there's just going to be baby steps until we see that next big wave again before there's a deadline.
I'm going to increase it because I'm optimistic, and I'm going to say 6.89.
I think it'll bump up probably a couple more notches.
So for advertisers and agencies, go from
Probably like a 5 to a 6.
I think we're so comfortable right now that I would expect that we continue to stay around a 3 or a 4, unfortunately.
So more ready, but not necessarily ready. So what's it going to take then to, spur things along?
The last chip has to fall with Google because like 40% of the other browsers, browsing activity are already going through this. Like they don't use third-party cookies.
Until we get clear information from Google, that's going to be what clenches things for us.
Of course. Okay, but given Google's irresoluteness, did you ask them what it would take beyond Google finally doing the damn thing?
I did. I think one thing that's really interesting is what is going to happen with data regulation, and especially, if this TikTok ban happens, are there going to be more aggressive steps when it comes to data sharing and consumer privacy and consumer data? If there continue to be really big stories breaking about fraud, and advertising fraud and in the programmatic bid stream, I think those things could really push it forward, actually.
I would say probably the more privacy and all of those, legislations and stuff happening is probably what's going to cause agencies and advertisers to really care about, one, the value exchange, should we be collecting data, but also what are the tools in place for us to continue to collect that data.
Once you see enforcement ramping up, as we saw in Europe, even though enforcement is still troubled there, I think you will see people kind of like, oh wow, I should really get on top of that and scramble to start getting those things into position. Otherwise, I think the onus is on Google, eyes are on Google. That's probably the most likely.
Okay, so to recap, for advertisers finally to be prepared for a post-cookie landscape, either Google deprecates the third-party cookie in Chrome once and for all, or Congress gets its act together and passes a federal privacy law.
Seems so.
Well, that's never gonna happen.
Wait, which?